12 scale stock heat number 2 underway. Top seeded heat, time to beat from John from the previous heat. 26 lap run, 8 minute flat. Dan Marr straight to the top of the timing sheets. Tom in the 2 spot, Michael in 3, Gerard in the 4, Scott in the 5. Dan Marr with a 17.43. Michael Stone for the heat so far. 16.916. Stoney with a 17.285 that time by Dan Marr, putting down a hot lap of the heat that time with a 16.901. We follow on board with Michael Stone making his way through the short chute around the teardrop and over the timing line for another lap. This time around a 17.1. Dan with a 17.4 gap back down to 0.2 of a second in it between first and second. Tom Huggan about 1.6 seconds behind after that. So top 2 have separated from the rest of the field quite significantly early in this one. Stoney over the line once again, this time around a 16.986. Dan with a 17.4. Michael Stone now into the lead by 1/10 of a second over Dan Marr. Over the time line once again, a 17.3 for Stone. That time a 17.2 for Dan Marr. So 0.05 of a second in it between Stoney and Dan Marr. Nothing in it between the two of them. Scott now making his way up to P3, 2 seconds behind. 17.2 for Michael Stone. Dan Marr with a 17.1 back up to the top spot now. Chopping and changing between the two drivers. David Reston now up to the 3 spot. 3, 4, 5 all the way down to P9. All tight between the lot of them. Top 2 have separated from the rest of the pack just a bit. Michael Stone with a 17 flat. Dan Marr with a 17.7. Michael Stone back to the point now, chopping and changing. We follow on board with Dan Marr making his way down the short chute around the teardrop. Over the timing loop, this time around for Dan, a 17.2. Also a 17.2 for Michael Stone. Gap remains at 0.6 of a second between first and second. Another 2.5 back for David Reston. Tom Huggan in the 4, Gerard in 5, Oliver Tan in 6, Vincent in 7, Paul Sims in 8. Scott Marr in the 9 spot now. A couple of slow laps there for Scott Marr. Four minutes 30 left on the clock, closing in a halfway mark. Michael Stone leading the way by 0.6 of a second over Dan. Tom Huggan in the 3. David Reston in 4, Gerard in the 5. Stoner with a 17.1 last time by, 16.9 from Dan as they cross the line this time, a 17.2 from Stone. Dan with a 17.5, gap goes out to almost a second now.
Four minutes left.
4 minutes on the clock, 4 down, 4 to go. Stoney leading the way. 17.5 second lap that time for Michael Stone. Dan with a 17.1 gap back down to half a second between first and second. We follow on board still with Dan Marr in the 2 spot, trying to close back in on Michael Stone around the teardrop. Over the timing line. Oliver Tan, just careful, that'll be second place on your tail. Thank you. 17.5 last time from Dan, closes in another 0.2 of a second on Michael Stone. 3 minutes 30 left on the clock. Michael Stone across the line at 17.342. Marr with a 17.4. Gap remains about the same. 0.5 of a second separating them. David Reston in the 3 now at the 4 seconds behind. Tom Huggan in the 4, only 0.5 after that. Battle still going on between 3rd and 4th out there at the moment with 3 minutes left on the clock. 17.2 for Stone, set 19.1 for Marr. So a slow lap there from Dan Marr. Oh. Two minutes 45 left on the clock. Stoney with a 17.5. He's got a bit of room in hand now. Dan Marr with a 17.6. 2.5 the gap remains. David Reston 2.5 seconds after that as well. So top 3 evenly separated. Tom Huggan though, only 0.4 of a second behind David Reston in the 3 and 4 spots. Dan Meyer last time around with a 17-1 against Michael Stone, 17-7. So Gritty captures about half a second from the previous lap. Another 17-6 from Michael Stone. Dan across the line with a 17-4, closing in a couple of tenths once again with 2 minutes left on the clock.
2 minutes left.
Stone looking smooth out there in cruise control through the teardrop. Over the timing line, he goes this time around to 17-3. Nice clean lap. Dan across the line with a 17-3 as well. 1.8 seconds, a gap remains between first and second. David Reston in the 3 spot with a 17.7. Gap goes back out to 3 seconds between second and third. Tom Hunkin in the 4, only 0.2 of a second behind. That's the closest on track in the moment. Michael Stone with a 17.2 now, bringing the gap back out over 2 seconds to Dan. 1 minute 20 left on the clock, drivers. Modified 12 scale, please be ready. You're up next. One minute as Stoney hits the loop, 17.407 that time around, 17.567 for Danmar. Gap goes out to 2.3 seconds. Tom Huggan in the 3 spot, 3.1 seconds behind after that. David Reston still keeping toe with Tom Huggan, only 0.3 of a second between Tom and David. 40 seconds left on the clock, drivers. $17.7 for Tom Huggan, 17.7 also for David Reston, equaling lap times all the way around the track at the moment. 12 modified drivers, please be ready. You are up next. Stone looking to wrap this one up. He's still got 15 seconds out on track.
10.
2.3 seconds a gap between first and second as a 10-second timer starts counting on down.
4. 3.
Keep going until your call done, please, drivers. Keep going till your call done.
Scott Marr done. Michael Stone done. Simsy done. Tom Huggan done. Dan Marr done. Vincent done.
Oh, last few cars making their way
David
around here.
Olivier done.
Just waiting on Gerard, and we
Gerard
are all done. Thank you, drivers. Thank you, marshals. Michael Stone taking around 1 TQ in 12 scale stock with a run of 28 laps. 806.7. Dan Marr 2. Tom Huggan in the 3. David Reston in 4. And Oliver Tan in the 5.
The race is completed.
Track is not open, drivers.
12 scale stock, round 1 of qualifying is complete. Taking TQ, big congratulations to Michael Stone. Tell us about that run.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. Yeah, the run was good, just kept it clean. Dan and Tom certainly have some very serious pace. They got a lot of power. I don't seem to have the same power. 1S sort of eludes me a little bit, but no, the car's very easy to drive, very stable, and yeah, you can just put it wherever you want on the track. So yeah, brilliant.
Well, a great way to start your campaign. Touring car, how are you feeling about that one? You weren't too happy straight after the race. You've had time to think about it now. What are you going to do for the next one?
Haven't even spoken with Alex as yet.
Well, you're not giving us anything.
Not at the moment. I will say though, the X12s are both kit, straight out the box. So very good car.
Keep trying, keep going. You'll get there. Good luck.
100%. Thanks, Tony.
Alex Hagberg. Ricky. Carter. Tim Roden. Andy Cook.
No more laps, drivers. No more laps. Bring it around to the timer
start
loop.
Of the race.
Should have all marshals from previous heat out there. Drivers, you'll be going off in
15
numerical
seconds to the
order
start of the
1
race.
through 8. Drivers watching your cars,
Less
go
than
on your
5.
number.
Car 1. Car 2. Car 3. Car 4. Car 5. Car 6. Car 7. Car 8.
So out on track at the moment, 12 scale modified. Alex Hagberg leading the way early in this one. Carter Sims in 2, Ricky Fakala in the 3, Andy Cook in 4, Tim Bounty in the 5, Ryan Reynolds in 6. Alex Hagberg now down into the 14 with a 14.994. Backs it up with a 15 flat out to a 3.5 second gap over Carter Simpson 2, Ricky Vakala in the 3, Andy Cook in 4, Ryan Reynolds in 5, Tim Bounty in the 6 spot. Following on board with Andy Cook at the moment, currently sitting in the 3 spot, making his way around the teardrop over the timing loop. This time around for Andy Cook, a 15.969, puts his hot lap in that time around. Ricky Vakal with a hot lap though with a 15.5, jumps just in front of him up into P3. But Andy Cook following on board in P4 around the teardrop over the timing loop. 15.9 that time around. Ricky Vakal stays in front of him with a 15.6. 2 minutes down, 6 minutes left on the clock. Drivers Hagberg in the lead, Carter Sims in 2, Ricky Vakala in 3, Andy Cook in 4, Ryan Reynolds in the 5 spot. Two and a half minutes down, 5.5 left on the clock. Hagberg still leading the way as we pick up with Carter Sims. No, sorry, it'll be Ricky Vakale. Making his way down the back straight away.
That's unsportsmanlike behaviour.
Three minutes 15 down, 4:45 left on the clock. Hagberg out to an 8.9 second lead over Carter Simpson 2, Ricky Vakale in 3, Ryan Reynolds in 4, Andy Cook in the 5, Tim Bounty in the 6 spot. Now picking up with Carter Sims currently in the 2 spot. Last time around a 16.0 second lap. Working its way through the top chicane into the short chute around the teardrop. Over the timeline this time around for Carter Sims will be a 15.869. He has pumped out a 15.4. Alex Hagberg well into the 14s with a 14.794.
4 minutes left.
Carter Sims working his way on to the back straight up to the top of the hill. He goes into the chicane. Flying through the chicane onto the short chute around the teardrop. Over the timing line this time around for Carter of 15.834. Alex Hagberg now out to 11 second lead over the field with 3 minutes 30 on the clock. Modified touring drivers, please be ready. You'll be up next. Modified Heat 1, you'll be up next. Hagberg now out to an 11.5 second lead, just chipping away every single lap, 15.4. Last time around, Carter Sims works his way around, this time over 15.8. Agberg with a 15.7. 3 minutes left on the clock.
3 minutes left.
Three minutes left on the clock. We got Hagberg leading the way. Carter Sims into Ricky Vakale in 3. Andy Cook in 4. Tim Bowney in 5. Two minutes to go, drivers. Hagberg leading the way. So Hagberg now in front of Carter Sims. Carter gives him plenty of room. So we pick up with your leader of Alex Hagberg, making his way up to the top of the hill through the chicane. Through the short chute into the teardrop. He goes over the timing line for another lap. This time around a 16 flat. Carter Sims just pacing him around the track at the moment.
2 minutes left.
2 minutes on the clock, drivers. 2 minutes left to go. Your leader working his way around the teardrop. Carter Sims trying to follow along, find some lines out there at the moment. Into the switchback goes your leader. Carter Sims into just behind. Difference between first and second over 14 seconds out there now. Hagberg gets a little bit out of shape through the teardrop, saves it back and away. He goes though through into the switchbacks, onto the sweeper, onto the back straight. Your leader out to a 15.5 second lead with 1 minute 30 left on the clock. One minute left on the clock, drivers. 1 minute left on the clock. Hagberg that time around a 15.7, a 16.6 for Carter Sims. Final 45 seconds, drivers. Order remains. Hagberg in 1.
Left.
Carter Sims in 2. Ricky Vakale in the 3. Andy Cook in 4. Tim Bowney in the 5 spot. Final 30 seconds ticking on down now as your leader makes his way around the teardrop over the timing loop for another lap. That time around a 16 flat. Carter Sims with a 15.934 that time around as your leaders start working their way into a bit of traffic. Hagberg just clipping the inside, corner curving there as he worked his way into the short
15
chute.
seconds left.
Through the switchbacks he goes. On to the back
10,
straight away.
9.
Leader
8,
closing in pretty quickly
7,
here, guys. Plenty of room
6,
as he comes around.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Keep going to your call done, please, drivers. Keep going to your call done.
Carter done. Bounty done. Ricky done. Alex Hagberg done. All drivers are finished.
That
Andy
is
Cook
all
done.
cars
The
done.
race
Thank
is
you,
completed.
drivers. Thank you, marshals. 12 scale mod drivers. Radios to the boxes. Straight out to Marshall, please. Up now, modified touring car.
Who are you looking for? Who is it? Who's the name? Jake Motter. Who?
Alex Hagberg taking TQ in round 1 of qualifying for 1/12 mod, mate, continuing where you left off after practice the last 2 days. Just sum up how the car felt in that qualifying run.
Yeah, it went really well. The car started really strong and I was able to pace the field. I was running out of grip a little bit towards the end, so I'm going to work on the setup to make the car more stable towards the end of the run, maybe, but other than that, I was pretty happy.
It's actually the first time you ran the full 8 minutes. Seating yesterday was only 4, so how much did that play into how you approached this setup?
The tire wear is high on asphalt, so you need to take that into account to see how the car is changing throughout the run. And seeing now that it was changing a bit, I probably have to adjust the setup a bit for the next run.
Why don't you go do that, mate? Well done. Thanks for coming. Okay.
Thank you.
Drivers will be going
Off in numerical order, 1 through to 8. Drivers are
15
watching your
seconds to the start
cars.
of the
Going
race.
on your number, please.
Car 1. Car 2. Car 3. Car 4. Car 5. Car 6. Car 7. Car 8.
Caution of the teardrop. Caution teardrop.
Four minutes left.
So out now, we got heat one of modified touring. Angelo out front is Adam Ziebart in the 2, John in 3, Tim Roden in 4, Scotty Giles in 5, Torrin in the 6 spot. So Angelo out front at the moment. Adam Ziebart putting down a hot lap of the heat. Last time around a 17 flat, only 700ths of a second in between first and second. Following on at the moment with Adam Ziebart now taking over the lead of the heat. 7/10 of a second in front of Angelo. Ziebart working his way at the top of the track into the short shoot around the teardrop, running the Tamiya car. Believe it might be the only Tamiya out there this weekend. Adam Ziebart working his way around through the switchbacks into the sweeper and onto the back straightaway. Gap last time by between Ziebart and Angelo was 1.2 seconds. Ziebart's starting to pull that gap out now. 17.3 last time for Ziebart, 17.1 for Angelo. Oh, Ziebart goes for a roll there. Back away he goes now. Going to cost him a fair bit of time. Drops down to P3, a 22-second lap. Still time to be made there with 2 minutes left on the clock.
Two minutes left.
So Angelo now out front, leading the way in this one. Following on with Angelo working his way through the short shoot into the teardrop. Down and across the timing line this time around for Angelo at 17.3. John Caranos in the 2 spot. 17.8 for him. Adam Ziebart last time by with a 17.4. Trying to close back in on these leaders.
One minute left.
Oh, less than a minute on the clock, drivers. Less than a minute to go. Angelo in front. Adam Ziebart in the 2 spot. 2 seconds behind now. Drops down to 1.6 behind as Ziebart starting to lay on the pace. 16.757 as he goes for a bit of a roll. Lands the rubber side down though. Back and away he goes. Just as he was starting to close back in with 30 seconds left on the clock. John Caranos in the 3 spot.
30 seconds left.
Check the gaps this time around with 30 seconds. They hit the loop. A 17.4 for Angelo, a 17.4 also for John Caranos. Adam Zebot with an 18.7 now, back to the 3 spot. Final 15 seconds left. Drivers in modified heat number 2, please be ready. Modified heat 2, please be ready.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
Keep going to your
3,
call done, please, drivers.
2,
Keep going to your
1.
call done.
Angelo Borden done. Adam Zebart done. John done. Tim Roden done. All drivers are finished. Scotty Giles done. The race is completed.
That is all drivers done. Thank you, drivers. Thank you, marshals. Modified heat number 1 drivers making your way off the stand, radios to the boxes and out to marshal, please. Into your designated position. Up now, modified heat number 2.
Qualifying moving into modified class, first group out. Angelo Bordon taking the top spot. They look like a pretty tidy run. How'd you find it out there?
Very shaky at the start because I'm a bit nervous and getting out the first qualify out. Yeah, the car seemed to be really good. It was like I felt like I'm comfortable driving with it at the setup that I've got at the moment. It's a bit sliding in the morning because it's really first layout of the track, but once the heat gets in the track and we get the car right, it should go a little bit quicker. But yeah, other than that, yeah, I feel really good driving the car. Yeah, the Yakimo MS1 is going really well. So yeah. Thanks for the boys at Yokomo team and they're helping us set up the car as well. So
Beautiful start to the day, mate. Go get him in the next one.
I will. Thank you very much.
45 seconds to the start of the race. Ryan Reynolds. K-Dog. Hamish Scott. Tim Moylan.
All drivers are checked in, bring it around to the starting line, please, drivers. All drivers checked in, bring it around to the
30
starting
seconds to
line.
the start of the race.
Drivers, you ought to be in numerical order, 1 through to 8.
15 seconds to the start of the race.
Drivers watching your cars, going on your number, please.
Less than 5.
Number 3. You're standing at it. Yeah, that one. Is that one there? Yeah.
Car 1. Car 2. Car 3. Car 4. Car 5. Car 6. Car 7. Car 8.
All cars off and running. Modified heat number 2. So time and a beat from Angelo, a 17 lap run, 5 flat. So out front of this one, we've got Todd George leading the way. Chris Yu now up to the 2 spot. Hamish Scott in 3, Ryan Withers in 4, Ryan Reynolds in the 5. Ryan with hot lap of the heat early in this one, the 16.898.
4 minutes left.
Chris Yu and Ryan Withers almost equal on pace at the moment. 17.1 for Chris. Ryan Withers with a 16.9. 600 to the second, separating the 2 drivers out there. Todd George now up to the top spot with a 16.796 lap time. Ryan Withers, then Chris Yu taking the top spot. 3/10 of a second separating the top 3. 3/10 separating the top 4 even. Simon Camilleri into it as well. Simon last time around with a hot lap of the heat of 16.556. Top 4 drivers only separated by half a second. Ryan Withers now up to the top spot with a 16.349. 1/10 of a second separating Ryan and Chris now. Todd George dropping off a little bit from the previous lap down to 1.2 seconds behind. Simon Camilleri in the 4 spot, 1.2 after that. Chris Yu now with a 16.717. in front of Ryan Withers by 3/10 of a second with 2 minutes 45 left on the clock. .230 down, 2:30 left on the clock. Chris Yu leading the way, Ryan Withers in 2, Todd George in 3, Simon Camilleri in 4, Hamish Scott in 5. 2 minutes left on the clock.
2 minutes left.
So following on board at the moment with Chris Yu and Ryan Withers, Todd George now back into the mix of things, 1/10 of a second behind. Todd George now taking over the lead of the heat with 1 minute 40 to go. 16.348 last time with the new hot lap of the heat. Todd George now 7/10 of a second in front. Ryan Withers and Chris Yu making their way across the line. That time around a 16.4 for Todd George, a 16.6 for Ryan Withers, 17.1 for Chris Yu. 3/10 of a second now separating first and second. Todd George leading the way, 16.5 that time for Todd. Ryan with a 16.5 as well. Gap remains at 3/10 of a second with 1 minute left on the clock. Following on board at the moment with Todd George as he makes his way around for another lap. This time around a 16.681, working his way through the switchbacks. Around the left-hand side, sweeper onto the back straight to the top of the hill. Final 45 seconds, drivers working his way over the time loop. Once again, this time around a 16 flat new hot lap from Todd George, turning up the pace now. New hot lap of the heat. Out to almost a second lead from that last lap. Ryan Withers with a 16.5 as well. 30 seconds left on the clock, drivers. Chris Yu in the 3. Hamish Scott in 4. Colin Moylan in 5. Tim Moylan in the 6. $20 seconds left on the clock, drivers. 20 seconds left to go. Todd leading the way. Ryan in 2. Chris in the 3. 10 seconds about to start ticking on down. Todd George comes around for another lap of 16.329, extending that lead on out. Timer starts ticking on down now. Drivers keep going to your call done.
1. Todd George done. Ryan Withers done. K-Dog done. Hamish Scott done. Chris done.
That is all drivers done. Thank you, drivers. Thank you, marshals. Modified Heat 2 wraps up, going in the way of Todd George, setting time to beat with an 18-lap run, 5:01, just missing out on a 19-lapper. Heat number 3 modified. Up now, drivers leaving the stand radios to boxes and out to your designated marshalling position, please.
Guys, once you put the car down, you must leave the facility, the area here, guys.
Modified qualifying continues, taking the top spot in Group 2, Todd George. So, how'd you feel in that run?
A bit shaky at the start, but it came good at the end. That was a big bang. Yeah, a little bit shaky, but came good. Just changing the car a little bit. Might change it for the next one, see how we go. But I'll see how the boys go.
Good luck at the next one.
But cheers.
Huntos. Dave Hung. Mike. Brad Portelli.
Single warm-up lap, drivers. Check them on through. No more laps, drivers. No more laps.
30 seconds to the start of the race.
Drivers will be going in numerical order, 1 through 9.
15 seconds to the start of the race. Jordan.
You write it down on the
Drivers watching your cars, going on your number.
Less than 5. Car 1. Car 2. Car 3. Car 4. Car 5. Car 6. Car 7. Car 8. Car 9.
Modified heat number 3 underway. Caution back straight. All clear now, all clear. So Todd George with time to beat, 18 lap run, 5:01. Going to almost need to be in the 19 lap bracket to make it in front of that time. Out front of the moment, we've got Jordan Hunting with a hot lap so far, 16 flat on his second lap. Early days out there at the moment. Jordan
left.
Hunting leading the way, 10th of a second over. David in the 2, Brad in 3, Damon Davis-Perry in the 4, Justin in 5, Steve Connell in 6, John Krillis in 7, Michael Powell in 8, Jordan Isagin in the 9 spot. David Hung leading the way out there at the moment. Got 1.5 seconds over. Jordan Hunting in the 2 spot. Brad Portelli in the 3. Damon Davis-Perry in 4. Steve Cannella in the 5.
Three minutes left.
So out front at the moment, David Hung leading the way. Damon Davis-Perry in 2. Steve Cornell in 3 now. Steve and a good run up to the 3 spot. Brad in 4. Jordan Hunting in the 5. David working his way down the back straight to the top of the hill through chicane. Into the short shoot around the teardrop. Over the timer line for another lap this time around, a 16.454. He's almost got 3 seconds in hand over Damon Davis-Perry. Steve Cornell in the 3 spot, another 2/10 of a second back after that. Steve Cornell now up to the 2 spot, 3.6 seconds behind David Ahang.
2 minutes left.
Minute and a half remaining. Drivers, David leading the way. Steve Cannell 4 seconds behind in the 2. It's tight between second all the way down to 7th spot. 1:30 to go. Steve Cannell in the 2. Brad in 3. Damon in the 4 spot. Jordan Hunting in 5. Michael Powell in 6. Justin in 7. John Krillis in 8. Jordan Isagin in the 9. We continue to follow along with your leader with a 16.1 last time by, working his way over the loop. This time around a 16.4. Into switchbacks goes your leader of David Hung. Through the sweep onto the back straight to the top of the hill. Into the chicane.
1 minute left.
Down the short chute. Into the teardrop and across the line once again this time around. A 16.303, looking to set time out there with less than a minute on the clock. David leading the way. Steve Cannell in 2. Brad in 3. Damon in 4. Justin in the 5.
45 seconds left. .30 seconds left.
Final 30 seconds on the clock. David looking smooth out there at the moment, working his way around the teardrop around for another lap this time around. A 16.409, super consistent into the 16.4s out there at the moment.
15 seconds left.
Up the straight once again. Through the top of the hill, into the short shoot around the teardrop for another lap. 10-second timer starting to tick on down as David makes his way around into another lap.
3, 2, 1.
Keep going to your call done, please, drivers. Keep going to your call done.
Justin done. Hunto's done. Dave Hung done. Mike done. John done. Jordan done.
Crossing the line,
Damon Davis
you'll
Perry
be
done.
done. Just a few
Steve
more
Cornell
still to
done.
finish.
All drivers are
And
finished.
we are all
Brad Portelli
done. David
The race is
Hung,
completed.
look at a set time out there. 19 lap run, 5:09.3. Time to beat from David. Steve Cornell in the 2. Brad Portelli in 3. Modified top seed heat. Heat 4 of 4. Coming up now, drivers from that heat. Making your way off the stand, radios to the boxes, and out to Marshall in your designated position, please.
Alright guys, wait to put your car down, must exit out of the race area.
Steve Cornell, nice run. P2 in that group of modified. Yeah, tell us a bit about that run.
Yeah, it was good. Yesterday the car was really safe, so I thought it would change it more to Simon's setup, and it seemed to have worked. It was good. It was freed it up in a lot of the corners, which gave it more corner speed, so happy with that.
And the event overall, how are you enjoying your weekend down here at TFTR?
Yeah, it's very good. The events run really well. Props to the boys. I can't, mate, the heat's the only worst thing about it, but I'm kind of used to it back home, but yeah, hopefully everything goes well and the weekend continues to go well. So,
Good luck at the next one.
no worries. Thank you. Cheers.
Anthony Carati. 30 seconds to the start of the
Front
race.
section's closed,
JP.
guys. No more
Simon
laps.
Nicholson.
Bring them back.
Jeff Hammond.
Bring them back,
Alex
guys. You were
Mackie.
warned. You had 30
Brady
seconds
Stanley.
to check them on
Ryan
through.
Baker.
No more laps. Bring them
Sandy.
back.
15 seconds to the start of the race.
Drivers going on your numbers.
Less than 5. Car 1. Car 2. Car 3. Car 4. Car 5. Car 6. Car 7. Car 8. Car 9.
Modified heat number 4 of 4 off and running. Checking lap times, they make their way around. Simon Nicholson with a 15.728 first lap. 15.8 from Jeff Hammond. Braden Stanley with a 15.9. Ryan Maker with a 15.9 as well. Braden new hot lap out there. 15.6 second lap around. One tenth of a second separating Simon Nicholson and Braden Stanley out there at the moment. Simon up at the top spot at the moment,
4 minutes
running the
left.
Schumacher. 1 minute down. We've got 4 minutes left on the clock. Jeff Hammond now bumping up to P2 with a 15.683. Braden Stanley takes it back off of him. New hot lap from Jeff Hammond. Simon Nicholson holding on to the top spot out there at the moment with 2/10 of a second over Braden Stanley. Jeff Hammond another 10th of a second behind. 1.5 down, 3.5 left on the clock. Plenty of time still left in this one. A 16.1 for Jeff Hammond, a 16 flat for Simon Nicholson. Braden Stanley to the top of the timing sheets. 200ths of a second in it between first and second now. Only a 1.9 seconds separating the whole field. Hagberg out from this one by the looks of it. 3 minutes 10 on the clock. Still plenty of time to go. Carati putting down a 15.732. Jeff Hammond still holding onto a hot lap of the heat. Braden Stanley out front by 1/10 of a second over Simon Nicholson. Coretti in the 3. Jeff Hammond in 4. Simon now dropping down to the 3 spot. Coretti up to the 2. Simon taking it back off him. Coretti with a 16 flat. Simon with a 16-1. 3/10 of a second separating Simon Nicholson and Coretti. Braden Stanley out in front by 2/10 of a second. 2 minutes 45 left on the clock. Simon Nicholson with a 15.7 that time around, drops the lead down to 0.08 of a second to Braden Stanley now. Braden still leading the way as he makes his way across the line, that time by a 16 flat. Simon Nicholson across the line with a 15.7. Simon Nicholson and back into the lead by 1/10 of a second over Braden. Jeff Hammond in the 3 spot. Coretti in 4. Ryan Maker in the 5. 2 minutes 20 left on the clock. Simon leading the way out there. Braden with a 16.1 that time by. Gap out to 3/10 of a second as we follow on board with Simon Nicholson at the moment. Working his way through the switchbacks onto the sweeper to the back straightaway to the top of the hill. 2 minutes left on the clock. Simon Nicholson with the Schumacher running with 2/10 of a second in lead.
2 minutes left.
Braden Stanley with a 15.6 that time around. Simon across the line with a 15.9. Gap back down to 7/100 of a second now. Nothing in it for your top 3. Ryan Maker back to the 3 spot. Jeff in 4 and Tony in the 5. 1 minute 45 left on the clock. Braden Stanley leading the way. Simon Nicholson in 2. Simon across the line with a 15.9. Gap now 0.08 of a second between first and second. Braden working his way around, coming towards the loop this time by. Lap that time 15.899 as we fall on board with Simon Nicholson coming across the line this time by for Simon at 15.855. Gap remains 0.03 of a second between the top 2 drivers. A second and a half back to Ryan Maker in the 3. 1 minute 15 left on the clock. Last time by 15.8, 1-3 for Braden Stanley. Again, a 15.9 for Simon Nicholson. And we pick up now with your leader, Braden Stanley, working his way around the teardrop. Over the timer loop this time around for Braden Stanley, a 15.801. A nice clean lap once again. 2/10 a second gap the last time by. This time for Simon Nicholson, 4/10 of a second. Braden starting to pull a slight gap over Simon Nicholson as Jeff Hammond goes up to P3. Ryan making a 4, Sandy Vaso in 5. And Tony Coretti in the 6, John Hughes in 7, 40 seconds left on the clock. Braden Stanley leading the way by 2/10 of a second. Simon Nicholson now with a 15.7, cuts that gap down to 1/10 of a second with only 30 seconds left on the clock. Braden Stanley making his way across the line as we follow on board with him. That time around at 15.9. Simon Nicholson coming towards the line this time by 16.1, so gap goes back out to 3/10 of a second with 15 seconds left on the clock now. Following along with Braden as he works his way across the line. This time by a 15.8 into the switchbacks around the left-hand side, around the sweeper and onto the back straight with your leader. A 15.9 from Simon Nicholson, gap out to 0.46 of a second. Keep going to your call done, please, drivers. Keep going to your call done. Braden Stanley, you are done.
Ryan Maker done. Simon Nicholson done. Jeff Hammond done. Sandy done.
Waiting on a few more drivers.
JP done.
Waiting for Coretti. And we are all done. Braden Stanley taking TQ modified round number 1. Simon Nicholson coming home P2, 0.5 of a second behind. Jeff Hammond coming home in 3rd. Ryan Maker in 4th. Coretti in the 5 spot. Sandy in 6. John Hughes in the 7.
Modified TQ for round 1 here at the 2024 EP On-Road Australian Championships. Braden Stanley, mate, that was a thrilling qualifying run. Yeah, how are you feeling right now?
Yeah, pretty good. We made gauged the track pretty well, which was lucky. It's kind of the morning run, no one's been out. And actually a pretty scrappy run for myself. I didn't feel very comfortable. I was actually quite nervous. I started shaking sort of mid-run and Simon kind of bridged that gap. And yeah, towards the end, took a breath, you know. And yeah, awesome. Super happy to get first round.
The first phase of that race, you had Ryan Maker right on your rear bumper.
Yeah, I was considering letting him go, but I thought if I let him go and I have good laps, because as I said, I got nervous in the middle and kind of started missing apexes again. So yeah, overall really happy.
It's a great start to the day. Yeah, good job. Best of luck in the next one.
Thank you.
Dude, how shit was my driving? You feel like a chicken.
All right, modified Heat 4 drivers making your way out to Marshall if not already out there. Up now. TCR drivers. We get you up on the stand, please. Modified Heat 4 drivers out to Marshall, please. Modified Heat 4 drivers out to Marshall. TCR drivers, track is open. Track is open.
1 minute to the start of the race. Theo. Nick. Milza.
Single lap this time, please. TCR
Jason.
drivers, single lap
Scott
check-in.
Rawlings. Tim Moylan. Stevie. John. 45 seconds to the start of the race.
No more laps, please, drivers.
Bounty.
Bring it around to the start line. No more laps.
.30 seconds to the start of the race.
So drivers be going on numbered order 2, 6, 3, 1, 7, 4, 5, 8, 10. Drivers watching your cars, going
15
on your numbers,
seconds to the
please.
start of the race. Car 2. Car 6. Car 3. Car 1. Car 7. Car 4. Car 5. Car 8. Car 10. Car 9.
Qualifying round number 2 underway. Starting off again with TCR. Tim Moylan coming out swinging from first lap, 18.316. John Carrillis with an 18.5. Tim Mounty with the 18.5 as well. Jason Milbourne that time around 18.188. New hot lap of the heat. Early days out there trying to close in on Tim Moylan. John Carrillis in the 2. Milbourne now up to the 2 spot in front of Carrillis. Tim Bounty up to the 3 in front of Carrillis as well. Milbourne now into the lead. Tim Bounty with the hot lap of the heat. 18 flat. John Carrillis to 3 now. Tim Moylan to 4. Stephen in the 5 spot.
Three minutes left.
So out front of the moment, we got Tim Bounty leading the way. Jason Milbourne down to a 17.961. Tim Moylan with a 17.9 as well. Couple of drivers now pushing it into those 17-second lap brackets. 2 minutes 45 left on the clock. Tim Bounty leading the way. Jason Milbourne in 2. Tim Moylan in 3. Stephen in the 4. John Carrillis in 5. Jason Dixon in 6. Scotty Rawlings in 7. Nick in the 8. Two minutes left on the clock, drivers. 2 minutes left on the clock. Tim Bounty leading the way. Jason Milbourne only 0.3 of a second behind in the 2 spot. Tim Moylan in the 3. Stephen Spears in 4. John Carrillis in the 5. So we pick up with Tim Bounty going down the back straightaway. A 17.9 last time by. Jason Milbourne with a 17.9 as well. Gap between first and second, only 0.2 of a second. About a second after that will be Tim Moylan in the 3 spot. 1 minute 30 left on the clock, drivers. 1:30 to go. Tim Bounty now out to a 0.4 of a second lead over Jason Milbourne, trying to stretch that lead out with 1 minute 20 left on the clock, coming through the teardrop. Crossing the line this time around with an 18 flat with your leader as we follow along, going through the switchbacks. Around the sweeper onto the back straightaway with your leader. 0.4 of a second last time by. Jason Milbourne with a 18.1. Tim Bounty with an 18 flat.
1 minute left.
Crossing the timing loop that time around. 18 flat once again. Jason Milborn with an 18.1 also. 0.6 of a second gap separating them now. Tim Moylan in the 3. 18 flat for him. Stephen Spears with an 18.2. John Krillis with an 18.5 in the 5 spot. 18.1 for both first and second. Gap remains the same from that lap around. 30 seconds left on the clock. Junior drivers, please be ready. You're up next. Juniors, please be ready. You're up next.
30 seconds left.
Following along with your leader, making his way up the hill. Scotty, you will have leader on your tail through chicane.
10, 9.
Around 8, the teardrop goes your
7,
leader. Clear track in front
6,
of him for here now.
5,
as the time starts
4,
ticking on down, keep
3,
going to your call
2,
done, please, drivers. Keep going
1.
to your call done. Everyone's still live out there at the moment. Everyone's
Jason
still
done.
live.
Mills are done. Boundy done. Scott Rawlings done. John done. Tim Moylan done. Stevie done.
That is all drivers done. Thank you, drivers. Thank you, marshals.
The race is completed.
TCR drivers making your way off the stand, radios to the boxes and out to your designated marshalling position, please.
Qualifying round number 2 kicks off with TCR front wheel drive and taking top spot, Tim Bounty. It's a fun class, but yeah, tell us how that felt for you.
Oh, it felt pretty good that run, and much better than the last run. I put my tyre warmers on backwards the last run, so my car didn't actually work until 3 laps to go. But that run was much cleaner. It was pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it.
Just going a little bit more, so you run different temperatures, front to rear. Is that what the difference was?
Yes, pretty much. I had my fronts warmed up and my rears were cold, and it was just the rear was not able to keep up with front on the first run.
You think you got the measure of Jason?
Yeah, we battle here all the time. We're trading blows, so it's going to be tight all weekend. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Back to the timing line. No more laps now, guys. No more laps.
30 seconds to the start of the race.
Drivers going on order of 2, 1, 3, 7, 5, 4, 6, 8,
15 seconds
9.
to the start of the race.
Drivers watching your cars, going on your numbers, please.
Less than 5. Car 2. Car 1. Car 3. Car 7. Car 5. Car 4. Car 6. Car 8. Car 9. Car 10.
All drivers off and running now. Phoenix first across the line, 18.1 for Phoenix, 18.7 for Tim Moylan. Sorry, Ty Moylan. Ryan Parkinson with a 18.7, 19.2 for Jack Cooper, 20.3 for Anson, 24.1 for Max Boxer, Axton with a 20.6, 22 for Samuel Foster. Phoenix Eggleton now into the 17s with a 17.892. $18.5 that time around for
4
Phoenix
minutes
Eggleton. Ryan Parkinson making his way across the line, as well as Ty Moylan, and slower laps for both drivers. A 20.7 for Ryan, at 19.7 for Ty. Phoenix out to a 3.5 second lead early in this heat, so our leader working his way across the timing loop now. Thank you, Axton. Great driving. So our leader working his way through a bit of traffic here. Thank you very much. Great driving, guys. Great driving. Second place will be closing in pretty quickly as well. 2 minutes down, 3 minutes left on the clock. Work with each other, drivers. Work with each other out there, please.
3 minutes left.
So Phoenix Eagleton, your leader, 18-1 that time around. So second place of Ryan Parkinson and third of Ty Moreland starting to work their way into traffic here, guys. Give each other plenty of room, please. Give each other plenty of room. Three minutes down, 2 minutes left on the clock. Phoenix in 1, Ryan in 2, Ty in 3, Jack in 4, Anton in 5.